Hi, this is Neil Griffin with Liferay, and today I'm here to show you how to design a report for Liferay DXP by doing an ad hoc query with TIBCO Jaspersoft Studio. I have Liferay DXP 7.2 installed locally here with a Tomcat bundle connected to MySQL. But before we sign in, I wanted to point out that over at the Liferay Marketplace website, we have a plugin called Liferay Reports. Now, what this provides is it's an implementation of the Liferay Reports API. We have an API that can be implemented in different ways. And you see here I have highlighted in the description that it packages a reporting engine with Jasper Reports, an excellent implementation giving you out-of-the-box ability to upload report definitions. So this is important. We're going to see this when we get to the control panel in a little bit. But first, in order to design a report, you would need Jaspersoft Studio. I recommend using version 6.9.0. That's the newest version that I was able to use in order to create a report that was compatible with DXP 7.2, at least the version of Jasper Reports that we have bundled with the Liferay Reports plugin. I did try a newer version, and what happened was it had XML documents generated that had elements that were unknown to the version of Jasper Reports that's bundled with the Liferay Reports plugin. So again, version 6.9.0 is probably the newest one you can use. Well, let's head on over to Liferay DXP, and I'm going to sign in as Bruno. He's our administrator user, and I'm going to navigate over to Bruno's profile. Bruno has 3 contacts: Rich, myself, and Greg, and he has a blog. Now let's say we wanted to generate a report for all the assets in our system. Blogs is one of the many different assets that Liferay has: blog, wiki, documents, things like that. And we can have ratings, thumbs up, thumbs down, stars, and so on. Well, let's say we want a report that's going to generate all of the ratings for the assets in our system. Well, in order to do that, we need an asset, so we'll create a blog. We'll do a new entry. And let's say Bruno wants to create a blog, how to design a report for Liferay DXP. And the content would be, you need to use Jaspersoft Studio by TIBCO. And we will publish that. Now if we were to look at the MySQL command line and do a query of the rating stats table, we see that there are no rows. That's the table in the Liferay database that would contain this information. Well, if I head back over to Chrome and Bruno self-rates and he gives himself a thumbs up, and we head back over, we'll see that our select query now returns 1 row, and we can see that the average score is a 1. Well, let's sign in using a different browser. I'm in Firefox now, and I'm going to sign in this time as Neil, as myself. I'm one of Bruno's contacts. I'll visit Bruno's profile, his blog, and I'm going to do a thumbs down. I didn't like this blog for whatever reason. And then if I go back over to the MySQL command line and I run that query again, I can now see that the average score is 0.5 because we had 1 thumbs up, 1 thumbs down. Well, let's sign in as a different user. Sign out of Neil, and this time I will sign in as Greg, another contact of Bruno's, and we'll go to Bruno's profile, click on blog, and Greg likes it, so he gives a thumbs up. And we go back, run the select statement again, and we're at 0.67 if we round. Let's sign out, and we'll sign in this time as Rich, and go over to Bruno's profile and to his blog, and Rich gives it a thumbs up as well. So I'm the only one who had a negative opinion about this blog. And now we run our query, and it's got a score of 0.75. So that's all well and good, but how could we make a report from this, something that we can access from within Liferay DXP? Well, the answer to that is with Jaspersoft Studio. Before I talk about how to design a report, I need to mention the connection. Here I have created a JDBC connection to the Liferay database, so you can see it's using the MySQL driver, and here's the connection URL, the username and password, and so on. Well, if I click on the Project Explorer tab, and then I create a new Jasper report, it allows me to pick a template. And my favorite is this simple blue right here. I'll click Next, and let me change the name of the file to ratings. The file extension is JR XML, Jasper Report XML. It's an XML document. Next, and then I select the Liferay MySQL data adapter, and what this shows is a list of all of the databases that are here in my local server, and this is the one that Liferay DXP is connected to, and I'll expand table, and the table that is going to have the title of the asset, in this case the blog, would be the asset entry table. But before I do anything further with that, let's take a look over here on the right. We have texts, outline, and diagram. The outline one is one that is most interesting at this point. It's a SQL query, select from where, group by, having, order by, and you can see there's nothing there. Well, if I click on diagram, this will allow me to use a builder to make an ad hoc query. So I'm just going to drag asset entry over here to the right. And the other table that I'm interested in is rating stats. Where is it? Here. Ratings stats. And I'll drag that over here to the right. And I need to make this a little bit bigger so we can see. Drag that to the right. And if I click back on outline, we can see that the from clause has been populated with the two tables that I've selected. Back to diagram. Well, we need to pick some columns to look at. Title is interesting. That would be the title of the blog in this case, and then the average score. Clicking back on outline, and we can see that not only the from clause has been populated, but also the select clause. Now, if you click back on text, you can see the actual text of the SQL query. Back to diagram, because we're not done. We need to link some of the columns here, because we have some column relationships. And the way you do that is, so you can see we have some columns here in common. Company ID is one of them, so I'm going to drag one to the other, and that creates a little link between the two. And if you click back on text, you can see that we're now doing an inner join. And we're expecting the company ID of the rating stats to be the same as the company ID for the asset entry. Well, we're not done. We need to also do the class name ID. Now, at this point, the tool makes a bit of a mistake. If I click back on texts, you can see how it's got another inner join right here. That's a mistake. That should be and. And we're not done. We need to do one more, class PK. So now we've got all of our relationships established. But again, it made a mistake. It's got another inner join here. That needs to be an and. Okay, so now the query is in good shape. We've built our ad hoc query, and I'm going to pick these two columns for display in the report. I'm not worried about fields to group by at this point. I'm just going to hit next. Congratulations, thank you very much. And I'll click finish. So here's the studio, and this is what our report would look like. And we could click preview here, and it executes the statement and gives us to the report. And you can see here we need to fix the output a little bit. This 0.75 is a little bit too close to the title and so on. But you can see that it did properly execute the query and make a report for us. So back to design. Maybe I want to take the average score here, move it over to the right a little bit. And let's say I want to display it as a percentage. The way I would do that is I would come over here to text field, and then pattern, click this dot button, percentage, and I like this one right here. And let's say I just want 1 decimal place, something like that. So you can see here it's going to give us an integer, 1 decimal place, and a percent sign afterwards. So that's the pattern we're going to see. So now if we hit preview, looks a little bit better. We see 75%, 75.0%, and looks like we could fix the title column and the average score column. It's a nice WYSIWYG editor, so I can spell title with an uppercase T, come over here, average score, something like that. Title for the report would be asset average score, something like that. And this would be the average scores of assets. That's the description, something like that. Click preview. Here we go. Well, that's all well and good. How do we get this report to be viewable from within Liferay DXP? Well, let's save it and head back over to Chrome. Here we are as Bruno. And in the control panel, if I go over to Reports Admin, you can see that there are 3 tabs here. There's Reports, Definitions, and Sources. If I click on Definitions and then Add, I can choose that ratings.jrxml file. I do need to give it a name. Let's call it ratings here, and then save. Now at this point, all I've done is I've saved the definition, and I need to actually run the report. I can either do it on a schedule. Click on the ellipsis over here. You can add a schedule so that this report can be run hourly, weekly, what have you. Or you can just run it now, and that's what I'll do. I'll click Add Report, and I will pick PDF as my output format, generate, and it was successful. So let's take a look at it. Download, and there's the report. So that's how you would access the report from within the control panel in Liferay DXP. There's also a reports display portlet that you can put on a page that will show all the reports that have been run. So that's the end of our lesson for today. I want to thank you for joining me and learning how we can design a report for Liferay DXP. Thanks. See you next time.